What?
What? Get it? Because we're an EV channel. My name is Austen, and this is the first inaugural run of Blue Gorilla EV, or also going to be known as BGEV, hence that right up there.
Okay.
And what this channel is basically all about is we'd like to discuss electric vehicles, EVs, hybrids, PHEVs, all the fun stuff that's specific to automotive, because that's what we are and that's what we love, and that's what you get paid to do. So, again, my name is Austen. With me is Craig.
Good evening.
It's not evening.
Well, it's mid-afternoon. It feels like the evening.
All right. Well, perhaps it's perhaps it's time.
It's evening where I come from.
Well, with that being said, what we're going to do today is go over a vehicle that has created an unprecedented, incredible amount of hype in the past 24 hours. And in specific, you guys already know it. We are stoked about it. It is the 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning. The game changer, the next level of reality when it comes to every day of EVs. So I'm stoked about it. I know you and I have been talking about it for like 99% of today.
And what's interesting is I'm not even really a truck guy.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
And I'm quite hyped about it.
And you're like, oh, wait, F-150 EV. Yeah, let's read up on that.
I mean, like I said, I'm not really a truck guy, but, Ford F-Series is an iconic vehicle in American history. Well, not even 100%. Just American history, just all over the world. I mean, if you go back to, the very first one, what is it, like early 19s?
It was we weren't alive. We'll just put it that way.
It was a really, really long time ago. So the history behind it, I mean, you can go and read about it. It's an interesting read and story. But again, it is one of those iconic vehicles, and especially now getting into electric.
Yeah.
I think it's something that everybody's going to be getting excited
and it's going to get a lot of attention.
Well, it has been getting a lot of attention in literally the last 24 hours. There's only been there's been a lot of content around it, and people are talking about it, but the fact that it's only been introduced and released into the world only a matter of hours ago, there is an insane amount of hype behind it. If you go and look, you could have done a pre-order for
$100,
$100 down. There's been over 45,000 in the last 48 hours.
Which, I mean, that just tells you the way this whole industry is going.
Yeah.
Everything's changing dramatically.
I mean, I don't really know off the top of my head what it was for when Tesla did this kind of thing, what the pre-orders were, but
I think it was $1,000. I'm probably wrong.
Well,
I'm usually wrong.
Well, I think it was quite a lot for even when they did the Cybertruck, but just the fact that in 48 hours, over 45,000 people have already pre-ordered this
thing. They said, here's $100.
I mean, this is crazy.
I want this vehicle. And they're saying that it's probably not going to come out until spring of next year. So roughly about a year. But even then, I mean, you're giving a year to create the amount of hype for this vehicle.
Well, even if you change your mind, you can get a fully
refundable
refundable
deposit.
Back.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, $100 back is a good night out at Outback Steakhouse. So. But no, going back to what you were saying, I read another statistic. I mean, the F-Series generates $42 billion annually, and it is second only to the iPhone. Think of that. Like, consumer. I mean, we're consumers. We literally eat everything. We buy everything. That's who we are. That's our nature, unfortunately, to a fault. A truck comes second to an iPhone.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Strange to think about, considering that it is really different.
They're not even, and your phone dropped. Well, we're buying Craig a new phone. Sorry about that. It's okay, it's not an iPhone, so we will move on.
Couldn't believe the stats.
It was just done. It was like $42 billion. What? Done. And just another example, I mean, they sold roughly 270,000 units in the first quarter of 2021.
Yeah, I mean, volume is insane. So, I mean, you can tell we hyped about it. If you do follow the news and everything like that, I'm pretty sure you are excited, even if you aren't really, a car person or a truck person.
You're still talking about it.
It's still interesting to see what's happening in terms of, electronic vehicle
revolution
market.
And the whole craziness is behind it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, again, we've been so used to dependent on fossil fuels for our vehicles, for our engines. And, it's for 100 years we've been on this, and this whole entire industry has absolutely changed in 10 years. It is here. I remember back in early or late 90s, early 2000s, all of these, pre-production and demo vehicles that were these electric vehicles literally looked like crap. They literally looked like a skeleton of a couple of bicycles glued together or duct taped together. And that paved the way where we are now. And then solar, they did rechargeable and stuff like that. So in a matter of, we'll say 10 years, give or take a matter of 10 years, the dependency on fossil fuels in engines has changed.
Yeah.
Like there's no engine anymore. There's a motor.
I think that's a strange thing to wrap your head around. If you really do think about it, it's a completely different way of building these things.
Accurate. Completely accurate. And now you're talking about putting that in the most sold vehicle in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Obviously Ford's, but they got their hats on, their thinking caps. They definitely got their wallets ready to go for this, because their wallet's going to get full pretty damn quick.
Yeah, I think just based off of the excitement of the hype around right now, it's definitely going to be
nice thing. Before filming this, we were watching Doug DeMuro's video, and in a matter of 2 hours, his YouTube video had already had something like 38,000 hits.
Yeah, I mean that just shows you the insane amount of interest people have in this.
I know. I mean, we had like 35 of those hits alone. So we were just like on replay, we were watching and doing a little bit more research too. But and then I think it would be cool though for us to kind of go through and discuss real quick just some of the specifics about this thing.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard in other areas, or if you haven't heard in other mediums, and at least now it's fresh in your brain. One of the cool things that one of the points that I think is really cool is the name itself. Ford is not really well known within the past couple of years of rebirthing a name and it working.
Yeah.
Prime example.
Have a strange history with that.
Yes. Mustang Mach-E. I threw up in my mouth a little bit when they said that they were going to make an EV that was going to be some sort of an SUV form, and they were calling it the Mustang Mach-E. Now, for me, as a car nut, as a car guy, I'm like, this is blasphemy. This is terrible. Why are we rebirthing a fantastic and an awesome, legendary name to this amoeba that's basically just a thing? It's just a thing. And is it, again, going back to the whole, is it just an image thing? Am I buying an electric vehicle because it's an image and it just doesn't make sense, or it doesn't make sense? And then B, you had the Bronco.
Yeah.
Bronco's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. But then you had the baby stepchild, which was the Bronco Sport, which wasn't even really a Bronco. So reading, yesterday that F-150 Lightning is coming back, and I know that it's so legendary. In late 90s, early 2000s, like this thing was the truck that I wanted, but people that were super into racing, super into street racing, stuff like that. I mean, everybody wanted that truck. I still want a Lightning to this day. Like, I can't find one. It's a decent price range that either A, hasn't been beat to hell,
yeah,
or they want $100,000 for it. So, again, when they said they were rebirthing a name, my brain immediately went to the bad, and then started reading into it. Started watching a couple of the videos, and I am now at the point where I completely agree that Ford has rebirthed this thing as the Lightning.
Yeah.
And
I think
it just
did a
makes
better job at thinking this through.
Yeah.
Than previous
All right, maybe that's a good point. All right, so maybe they did think it through a little bit more, or who knows? They might have named the Mustang Mach-E that way on purpose, so it would cause it would cause people talking about it. But just as a pointer, if you're not aware, there's two different versions they're coming out with. It's the normal and then the extended. The extended is the one that is supposed to be the powerhouse. It's supposed to be like the torque monster. I mean, it's what, 0 to 60 in mid-4s?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mid-4 seconds on a pickup truck.
I mean, that's really, really quick.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably fast.
Like, we just had a conversation in 3 sentences about the same time that it would take someone to go 0 to 60.
Yeah.
That's insanity. And then, the stats on top of it, again, this is for the extended, 770 pounds-feet of torque, and just shy of like 600.
600, yeah.
It's the fastest F-150 they've ever built, including the Lightning back in the day, and including anything that's been since then. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So you're introducing this to the U.S. #1 selling vehicle, and you're selling it as the fastest pickup of production, basically. Yeah. And it's all at like 40 grand.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the incredible thing about this is not only does it look and sound like it's going to be an absolute beast of a machine, but also the standard range model starts from like $39,900.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I said 40 grand, but it's actually not 40 grand for the extended range, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying, the starting price is 40 grand.
Extended range, I mean, obviously, if you want to go for the big boy one, that's a little bit more pricey. It's just over 50,000.
Up to 90 grand. Oh, like if you want to spec this thing out completely, up to 90 grand. I mean, 90 grand is a lot of money.
Yeah, but I mean, also, go and have a look at the thing. See, just look at the capabilities of it as well. If you go and look at some of the stats that they put up, I mean, it really is an interesting vehicle to look at, because even if you just, briefly run through the spec sheet of the vehicle, so up to 10,000 pounds. I think about that is just over 1,500 kilograms.
Well, and that was the other thing I was thinking about too. Obviously, there's going to be a relation between how much the thing can actually tow and how far you can actually go with it.
Yeah.
But the really cool thing, I don't know if you had read up on this side of it, it literally has onboard scales built into the vehicle itself, and it will tell you how far and judge how far you can actually go by what you're towing.
By the weight load, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like the technology that goes inside of that, in addition to the technology it's based off of, that's nuts. Like that's, and again, you're talking about a mainstream vehicle.
Yeah.
I love it.
The technology behind it is, I mean, when you think about how far we've come in terms of, vehicles themselves and the technology behind it, this really is a game-changing thing where the technology that we have available to us right now it's unprecedented. That it really does.
Where we're headed to,
where we're going in terms of just commercial vehicles. It really is an interesting environment to be in right now, because I'm saying about the range and everything like that. If you look at previous versions of electric vehicles, they weren't really going too far.
No, like maybe 50 miles.
Yeah.
And you cried after that, and you were calling somebody to come.
There was the fear of not getting anywhere.
Yeah, and then also too, now people are more used to it, again, probably because of what Tesla's paved the way for. People aren't necessarily as worried about range anxiety.
Yeah. Range anxiety.
And now that I actually can charge my vehicle at home overnight, so I don't have to sit for a half hour, 45 minutes at a charging station. So it's people are getting used to it. Now you're introducing it with something that's attainable.
Yeah. I think it's just getting more comfortable with the idea of this is the way that the world is changing.
100%.
And you don't really need to be too scared about it.
No.
When it's this interesting and this exciting, there is nothing to
fast. Like I want to drive it, and I don't know when we're going to have the availability to get our hands on one. Fortunately, a lot of our clients, or some of our clients, are Ford dealers and stuff like that. So there's availability is going to be there at one point. We just don't have one right now, and I want one right now because it looks incredible.
In terms of the availability, let's play a game of which mode would you put it in immediately as soon as you get
Sport.
it. I was just thinking the same thing. I mean, if you're going 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, if you put that thing in sport.
Yeah, and then definitely sport launches, but I don't know how many sport launches I'll be able to do before I kill the battery. Like it'll just have to be on the side of the road.
Well, when we eventually get our hands on one, I think it's something that we'll definitely put it through its paces. I mean, I'll let you do all the driving.
Sure, I'm perfectly cool with that. We'll make sure the insurance company is aware of that too, because I'm sure our rates just went up 17 million %. But going back to what you were saying about the modes, I mean, obviously there's the normal, the sport, The off-road is another one that they're really trying to play into. Is so the off-roadability of this thing is supposed to be, the undercarriage is super strong, and they're saying it's the strongest steel frame they've ever come up with.
I mean, built Ford tough.
Hey,
that's what they do.
There you go. Thanks for selling it for him, Craig.
Got it.
And then last mode, of course, is tow haul, which we already touched on the towing side of it. So. But the other, going back to the technology that's in this thing, they're saying you can charge your home, you can run off of the F-150's system for stuff in your home. You can run your home for 3 days from your vehicle. So like your refrigerator, basically, I don't know if you can run the main panel. And that was the other thing too I was trying to question was how many things can you actually run? I mean, because it has 21 charge points.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of blenders.
Yeah, that is.
Like,
it's a lot of offerings to charge.
Think about that though. Like now, so we live in Florida. Hurricanes are awesome. We love hurricanes, but not when we lose power. You can run your house, and I know you just bought a house. You can run your house off of a truck, and it doesn't use any gas, obviously. It's literally its own generator. But the question is, what does it do when the battery completely dies?
Something we'll have to test out again.
That actually might be a good challenge.
How long can we run a house for?
You just gave me a good idea. Stay tuned to the channel, because that is something, once we get our paws on this fantastic truck, that would be a fun challenge.
See how long you could go living just solely off the truck.
Like if you're camping.
Yeah.
I like that.
We'll test it out.
Adding that to the list. typing. Anywho's. But yeah, so we're hyped up on this, as you can kind of tell. We're also hyped up on energy drinks and water, but we're super excited about it. So it's been really, really cool to see everything that's been coming out as far as information. President Biden got to drive one of these things.
Yeah.
Although you had mentioned steering wheel.
Yeah.
Apparently, you said you can see the video clearly. There's a second steering wheel.
Definitely a second steering wheel.
I don't know if that's something to protect President Biden. I have no idea. Or if it's just some sort of a demonstration kind of thing. But he was told to rip that thing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that his foot was the foot that was ripping, because he lit that thing pretty hard. So go Biden on that one. But anyways, I think that really kind of covers basically what we were doing is just kind of give an introduction to, who we are, kind of where we want to go with this, and explore it. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for us to give ourselves the knowledge and learn more about the industry as much as we possibly can, and to grow and to share with everybody who's listening or watching, and to just have fun with it, and be able to be kind of a sounding board and a resource.
I think also just being a resources and that kind of thing. One of the other elements of this that I'm excited about seeing, definitely being in the advertising industry and marketing and getting word out there about vehicles, is looking at the marketing materials that will be coming out for this new EV side of
and how
Ford,
it's done,
and how everything is going to be done, and how that's going to change the marketing landscape as well. I think that's a really exciting element to look at as well, not just in terms of peak performance vehicle, but how this game-changing vehicle is actually not just changing the way that we look at the automotive industry itself, but also in terms of how we look at advertising and automotive advertising.
Yeah, 100,000%.
So that's something that I'm definitely very interested in seeing.
Well, prime example, here we are having a conversation with microphones and headphones on. If you asked me to do that 10 years ago, I probably would have called it crazy.
Yeah.
It's just everyone consumes everything completely different now.
Yeah.
And it's not always shouty and yell in your face about a price point. It's different.
Yeah.
So yeah, to your point,
it's all the elements that go with the excitement of a new release or a new technology or something like this. And this really is a pivotal time in our lives where it's the first electric F-150. And like I say, I'm not even a truck guy.
You're not a truck guy.
But the impact and not the repercussions, but just,
that next step.
The elements in all of our lives that this kind of thing touches.
This is a step.
Yeah.
This is a a legitimate step to what's coming next.
It's an interesting look to see, well, it would be an interesting look in 20 years to come back to see, has this impacted the history of EVs and Ford itself? Because like I say, if you go back and look at the history of Ford, is this the brand new starting point of a new chapter in the history?
Is this like the rebirth of the rebirth?
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be.
And here we're at the
journey.
cusp of it. This is really cool.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
We're stoked for it. But I don't have anything else really to go over. But the only thing we'd kind of ask is if you guys got any comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, please drop them below. Keep them PG if you would. Obviously, we want to keep this open so kids can actually enjoy and absorb this too. So we would appreciate that. But make sure you give us a follow. I mean, we're going to be putting a bunch of new content out, hopefully every single week, along with the social side of it. So, but give us a thumbs up. BGEV, which is realistically Blue Gorilla EV. And then our parent channel is Blue Gorilla Digital. But you good?
Good. Like, subscribe, follow. Thank you.
Exactly. What? Get it? Get it?
What?
I'm just going to use that. What? All right, guys. Thank you.